Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancer used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them go on, sir. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America. Some never know say Clinton Lindsay.
Welcome to Now You Know with Clinton Lindsay. I want to thank you for continuing to subscribe and to leave your comments. I really love reading your comments. And to tell people of the series, Now You Know. This is where I tell my stories. After being in the business for 45 years, I have a lot of stories to tell. Today we're going to have the first of a 3-part series. And we are calling it My Encounters with Bob Marley. Yeah, Bob Marley, the king of reggae. I have 3 encounters with him. And today we're going to talk about the first one. And then in weeks to come we'll do part 2 and part 3. Alright, so let's get ready for my first encounter with Bob Marley. In October of 1970, I had gone into grade 8 at Crescent Primary School. The previous semester, Crescent Primary School came very close in winning the trophy for cricket, the cricket trophy cup. I don't remember the name of the cup, but usually they name the cup after an outstanding citizen of Spanish Town. But I don't remember the name right now. The objective this time, they form a new team. They had to pick a new team because players from the previous team would have gone to other classes, higher classes, or passed the common entrance exam and have gone on to other school. So they decided they're going to pick a new team. I wanted to be on the team. I'm not the best cricketer in terms of, I'm not the best batsman or a bowler. I'm what you would call a all-rounder. I could do a little batting, I could do a little bowling, and I was what you would call a spin bowler. My batting order, 6, 7 there somewhere. But there was a guy that was really good, much better than me. He was the best of the bunch. His name was David Beach. At the time, I thought David Beach would be the favorite candidate to be the captain of the team. Now, Mr. Francis, who was the teacher and the guy who put it all together, after they selected the 11 or 12 boys to be on the cricket team, then the next task, it was to select a captain. I figured it would be, hands down for David Beach. But when they start announcing names or declaring names, who they would want to be captain of the team, my name came up. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna, Another person nominated me, and it just kept going, and they nominated David, and then Clinton, David. At the end of the count, I came with maybe 3 or 4 more votes than David. And I'm like, oh man. So Mr. Francis, when he tallied up the votes, I got more than David Beach. And then he called me up to the desk, up to the front of the class to declare me the captain. One of the things I've learned by me going up there is that they all know that I wasn't the best of cricketer. I wasn't the best bowler, the best batsman. But according to these guys, they like my leadership quality. I'm like, huh? Leadership quality. They like that, and that I was fair, and so on and so on. So at the end of the day, I welcomed the nomination, and I said, okay, I am captain of the team. So now it's my job now to coordinate practicing after school to practice with the team. There were some of the guys on the team that were living in the neighborhood. Crescent Alley School was on Brunswick Avenue, maybe about 3 to 4 miles from Spanish Town, the city itself. So you have guys that were up that side that we practiced for them at the school ground. And then there were guys in Spanish Town like myself that live in the Spanish Town city itself that we have to find our place to practice. And I chose to go to the Prison Oval, which is a big ground where other teams cricket, soccer, and so on would go there to practice. Because it's right basically in the middle of Spanish Town. As I enter Spanish Town, across from the hospital, that's where Prison Oval was. I took the side that would be the eastern side of Prison Oval. There's a gate, the original gate to Prison Oval. It is said that Marcus Garvey was the last prisoner to walk through that gate, and when he was walking through that gate after spending time in prison, he said that he will be the last prisoner to walk through this gate. And if you listen to the song 2/7's Clash with Culture, Joseph Hill and Culture, you will hear that phrase in the song where Marcus Garvey said, I'll be the last one to walk through this gate, blah, blah, blah. So I took that side and I carved out a little spot for me to practice with the guys when when we're in Spanish Town. When you carve out a little spot, you have imaginary boundaries. You would say, the boundaries is from here to there, because you really can't mark the field. So that's where we will go to practice cricket. One particular evening now, I would say January, February of 1971, one of the guys on the team, Leroy Earl, he was one of my best friends in Jamaica at the time. But Leroy Earl was a prankster. What we call in them days, him jokify. He would say things and do things just for the fun of it and laugh and get a good laugh out of it. I was batting this particular time and I hit the ball out of the boundary, and that would be considered a 4 runs, because when you hit the ball out of the boundary, it's 4. And Leroy was the one that was chasing the ball. He chased the ball and the ball went out of the imaginary boundary. So when he went, retrieved the ball and was coming back, and he was like all excited. Clinton, guess who me sit down there, sir? I said, you say, Leroy? He said, Bob Marley. I said, Bob Marley? I said, what's Bob Marley doing over in Prison Oval? I told him that. Leroy said, no, me I tell him, man, Bob Marley. So the fact that I knew that Leroy was a prankster, I said, Leroy, don't play with me now. Don't play with me, Leroy. I see if me go, him say, come man, I'll show you. Come, let me show you Bob Marley. And I'm like, yo, Leroy, you see me go down there, and I don't know, Bob, watch me here. And he was, I started to following him, and he was there, come, let me show you. I said, Leroy, don't play with me now. And he was still saying, no, it's true. No, he's not joking this time. And I said to myself, this must be serious, because, I'm threatening him, and he's still saying that it's Bob. He stopped about 6 to 8 feet from Bob Marley. Really Bob Marley. And then when I look up, I said, whoa, Bob. And then Bob now realized that I'm there staring at him, and he was doing what we call in soccer, balancing the ball. Like he would take, hit it from one foot to the next and keep the ball balanced without it falling to the ground. And I'm like, wow, it's Bob. And he kind of, I guess he sensed that I'm there to see him, because, he must have seen Leroy before. He nodded to me. And I nodded back. I said, yes. And what I would think he said was like, yes, my youth, yes. And I'm like, he's acknowledging my presence, that I'm right here looking at him. There was another guy beside him, light skin, big afro. And he was talking to Bob. They were talking, and later on in life I learned that man was Alan Skill Cole. I didn't know at the time. So I stood there for about 30 seconds just looking at Bob. At the time, Bob was his locks were just coming out. 1971, just little locks coming out. And then we just nodded like that and, turned around. I turned around and I went back to where the practicing was taking place. And Leroy was like, see, I told you, you know. I say, yes, Leroy, you come through this time. Yeah, man, I bob that, man. I really bob that. And I went back to with the rest of the guys, and they were asking me, Clinton, I really bob that. I really bob. You see, Bob. Because they also knew Leroy was a prankster. And, you know, say, yeah, it was it was Bob Marley for real. It was when we finished practicing, most of the guys decided they were gonna go to that way to see if Bob was still there, but from what I understood later that he had left by then. So that was my first encounter with the king, the future king of reggae. Cause at that time he had songs like I think Mr. Brown was out. Definitely Screwface was out. Kingston 12 Shuffle. One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. That was a big Trenchtown Rock. That was a big hit at the time. So he had at least those 3 songs currently out on the market when I first met him. Well, encountered him at Prison Oval. So that was the first one. I know, now you know. My next installment will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. My second encounter with Bob Marley. And this time we're looking at 10-15 years later. This time in New York, when my second encounter with the king of reggae. My second encounter, he was now the king of reggae. And I'll tell you about that in the next couple of weeks. So again, I want to thank you. Keep subscribing. It's very important that you subscribe. When you subscribe, you get instant notification when a new video is posted. And continue to tell your friends and continue to leave your comments. I really love hearing from you. Until next time, you take care.
And Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Only for artists, no for them me can't remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out no for water. To reggae artists.